You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this April 20th, 2020. Can't believe
midnight.
it.
It's midnight. We're
know,
here.
Tomorrow's Amanda's 40th birthday. Can you believe
It is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Amanda. You mean Monday?
Yeah.
It is Monday.
No, Tuesday. The 21st. 21st.
How old is she going to be?
40. Big
40.
4-0.
God, you guys squeezed in those three right at the end. Like, right? Late innings. Late inning comeback.
She's a youngin'. She's young compared to me.
Oh,
you,
my goodness.
for sure. Your wife's what, about the same age?
40.
Yeah, same age. It's funny.
So look at with right? 53, 50.
Robbing the cradle, you and I. Yeah.
I know.
We have to. We need someone to take care of us in old age. Except my wife already told me that she's like, I didn't sign up to take care of you, so she'll put me in an insane asylum with you, probably.
You got to stay on the V mineralized to make sure that you.
I got to stay vitalized.
Yeah.
Got to come up with a few new products,
Just to stay young. Logan, your son will take care of you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
Maybe my daughter. My daughter Aria loves me unconditionally. Thank God.
Yeah,
she'll take care of me.
That's for now.
Yeah.
What about Shayla? Is it Shayla? She doesn't love you?
Shayla. No, she does. She doesn't know. She's still only, until they hit a year old, they really don't have a personality. But she's growing fast. The little ones get big fast. How old's your little one now?
15 months. Wow. 14 months. 14. Wait a minute. March, April, May. 13 months. Just had a birthday.
Yeah, so he's in the cool, fun age now, right?
Oh, it's a blast! I just love it.
Yeah.
I went out for a walk with him today, and I love. That's the best age because they don't talk back and they love you.
Yes.
They start talking back. Around 5, they try to talk back.
My son's already doing it at 4.5. So
yeah. Oh, see.
Yeah.
Well,
he's using my own expressions against me already.
Oh yeah, my kids use all my expressions.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I get extra mad when they use those expressions.
Yeah. I posted a picture on my Instagram about
I saw it.
You saw it? Yeah, it was just it was funny. Someone
you put an A&B out for that picture. You wanted that picture, right?
No one sent it to me. It was funny because I hadn't thought about that. This guy, Dave Trueheart, owned this great powerhouse gym he opened. He was a huge Dorian Yates fan. Let me see if I put a picture. I'll put the Instagram post. Hold on. Let me share the screen here. And he wanted to bring me in to guest pose and to do a little seminar at his gym. It really wasn't even a guest posing. And he was trying to get me to go out there, and he said, "Yeah, I have Dorian Yates in there." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." He really did have Dorian Yates. He was a huge Dorian Yates fan. Him and his mom, and they had opened this gym in Lancaster, and that's where I went to college. So I hadn't been back there since for 6 years, and the last time I was there, I was like 100, 80 pounds maybe. So I said, "Oh, it'd be cool to go back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at 350 pounds, 6 years later." How funny is that? I was like 140, in college. And I think I got up to like I said, 180 maybe before I left that last year. And I went back at 315 6 years later to make it.
What's that? How many is that? 30 pounds a year? How many 6 times 3? Did you gain 180
something crazy amount like that? Yeah. So that was me in the Team Mike. Remember the old Team Michael sweatshirt?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
That was great.
You must have had tons of those.
So he invited me to come down there and do a seminar at the gym, and the gym was. I think he just didn't have a good business sense. The gym was awesome. He built this crazy awesome gym, and I think it's very cliquey in Lancaster there, and I think some people didn't like him, and so there was a lot of competition, and it didn't make it the gym. But he had Dorian there. He was such a Dorian fan that I remember he had clipped out every great Dorian picture and made a collage out of it, and Dorian. He brought Dorian. He paid a fortune. Weinberg and Dorian came in to do something at the gym. Dorian was $5 or $7 grand or something like that to come in and do an appearance. I think he just did it because he was a super fan of him. And Dorian liked the collage so much that he actually made a copy of it or something like that. And he was selling it for many years, a signed copy of it, his best pictures from Flex Magazine or something like that. So I hadn't seen or even heard from Dave Trueheart. So one of my clients now is friends with him. So he sent that old picture. I hadn't seen that picture at all. I don't think ever. Yeah. So it was pretty close. I put it up. Whenever I get a picture like that I have never seen, I always put it on Instagram just so people get a kind of a clue as to what I look like back then.
Why
I can't even
isn't he
believe
big anymore? How come he's not big anymore?
Right. You saw that the people wrote that?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
The thing is interesting is that it's interesting because my whole life I've been able to, and I know you can relate to this. I've been able to change the way I look according to how I want it to look. And when I was in high school, I was into the whole Rambo, Rocky thing, and so I started training, and I got abs, and I got a decent little upper body, like that whole like Rocky look, know.
Yep.
Then I wanted to look. Then I went the other direction. When I went to college, I was running in a long distance, and I didn't look like the long distance guys because I had too much muscle, even though I didn't have a lot. But
you looked a little bit like John Travolta for a while with that.
Yeah. My uncle used to always call me John just to drive me crazy. Then I realized he was right later in life. So I then went and I changed my body to look like a long distance runner, which was, and I seriously, it took me a long time to starve myself down to like 130, 140 pounds. And I got the legs, skinniness and all that stuff, but it did make me a better runner because there's a reason why runners look like that. Yeah. Because they're more efficient. It's like you ever see the Greyhound dogs?
Oh,
they get the skinny, like, they almost look like emaciated, but they run huge, crazy fast because of that. That's the runner's look. And then I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because I'm never going to get a date. No, I wanted to start putting some muscle back on. I got involved with reading the bodybuilding magazines, and I'm like, you know what? I was coming to the end of my college running career. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to put some size on. And so, of course, I went the other direction. I wanted to look like, Arnold. And then I got to Arnold size, and I'm like, I got to be bigger than that. I got to look like Dorian. That's speaking of which, it's Dorian Yates' 58th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Did you know that?
No, I did know that.
Yeah. He
58.
Can you believe it? How time really, really flies.
Yeah, well,
it's crazy.
We'll get to it, but I talked to Levrone the other day, and he said, it wasn't about the first time we met was 90. I don't know what he said, 91, 92, and he said it wasn't. It wasn't really long ago. I said, Kevin, it was like 30-something years. Yeah, I guess it was a long time ago. Yeah. That's a great shot of Dorian Yates.
Yeah, I love that shot. He was
great shot.
It's crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
How about this shot of Dorian?
Yeah, looks insane.
People say, how did Dorian beat all those guys? Look at him next to Sean Ray, who has a good physique.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
V-taper. What people don't realize is 91, 92, 93. His V-taper was just astounding.
And the fact that his lats were the biggest lats probably I've ever seen probably didn't hurt, either.
Yeah.
He had one of the best front lat spreads, I think, of all time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ronnie Coleman should have had one of the best lat spreads, but he didn't know how to hit the pose.
No, he did. He shrugged his. He just shrugged his shoulders.
He did like Paul Dillette also hit. I think him and Paul thought that the lat spread was a most muscular pose with your hands on your hips or something like that. Anyway, so I shaped my body. I changed the way I looked, and then after bodybuilding, I started saying, I want to just look like a smaller muscular bodybuilder. And for like, maybe 8 years or something like that, I was about in the 230s, 240 around there. And that was, while I was doing RxMuscle and MD and stuff like that. And then I said, you know what? You want to have kids. I want to live a long time. So I just downsized. And the funny thing is I was able to reshape my body in the image that I had in my brain of what I wanted to look like every single time. And that's what people don't understand. That's a powerful tool. Your imagination, if you could take the look that you have in your mind and actually make your body look like that, then you have power. That's a powerful thing to be able to do. And not many people can do that because they're not willing to, or they don't know how to suffer in the right direction to get to that point. And it took suffering in every direction, whether I was going down or up, to change, because your body doesn't want to change the way it looks. It wants to stay the same. It doesn't want to get bigger. It doesn't want to get smaller. It likes, a status quo homeostasis. So you have to be able to put some kind of method of forcing it to remodel itself. And it's a miracle that the body can change and remodel the way it looks so remarkably. I mean, isn't that incredible when you look at pictures of yourself as a kid, and then as you started growing in bodybuilding, and then what you look like now? It's a miracle, really.
And what was your strategy for coming down? What was your vision, or how did you do it?
I wanted to still be tight, okay, and lean, which probably wasn't going to be a problem. But I wanted to lose, muscle, but I didn't want to I wanted to lose it proportionally. So I didn't want to have these giant legs and then this small upper body, or this giant upper body and super small legs. So I'm pretty proportioned. I think I got it down pretty proportioned. So it is what it is. If you saw me like today, I should have taken pictures, but I don't want to hear people critique me. I was at the pool today. I have a good tan now because I've been outside every day in the pool. And I was posing, in the reflection of my mirror. There's not like a mirror. It's like a bay window, but you get a reflection off it. I'm like, I'm pretty shredded, like for just a guy who's on no drugs whatsoever, and who's just, who does barely weight train. I train 5 days a week, but it's like in my house, it's a joke.
If you posted the picture, people would say you look like crap and you're on drugs, right?
Yeah, they would say, they would probably think I was on drugs, and they would think that,
and don't look good.
They would be like, well, he's ripped, but and I would get people contacting me, how he's so ripped, and but then they would say I was small. Yeah, they would say I was whatever. But maybe not. Who knows? I think for 52 years old, I'm hanging in there. For a minute, I almost didn't remember how old I was. Do you ever do that? You get to it. You're at an age now where you almost forget. Holy shit.
I know within a year usually.
Yeah, that's weird though.
If someone wants to know exactly, I have to calculate it off my wife's.
Years going, right? The years going so fast. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
what are you
like? In May.
You're
right?
13 years older than your wife, or 14?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, and I'm 12 over mine. Yeah, so that's funny. It's very funny. Anyway, so that's that. Did you see my Big Lenny interview?
I didn't see it. No.
Ugh.
It crashed the internet.
Crashed the internet. No. He's big. people make fun of Big Lenny. He's got a really good following. It's a miracle what this guy. You always goes to show you. People think he's delusional, but you know what? He's living the life. Big Lenny is got this guy Aladdin, who, and I think I mentioned him last week. Aladdin let Big Lenny come live in his house, and he built him a home gym. And Big Lenny is training Aladdin because Aladdin wants to put on some size. And Lenny's got living in lap of luxury, and he's getting paid. Who's better than him?
You said it's his boyfriend.
I don't think it's not. He said it's not his boyfriend. I thought it was because I heard people tell me that, but no, he's just according to Big Lenny at least, he's just there. I think he's telling the truth. I think this guy Aladdin is just kind of intrigued by the whole Big Lenny phenomenon, and maybe he felt, he wanted to help out Lenny, and so Lenny's living there, and he's.
Is it near you?
No, not that near. It's on the other coast.
Okay.
Believe me, Aladdin offered to fly me in.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What's Aladdin do? How's he get his money?
I don't know. I forgot. I'm not sure.
If it's small business, I hope he gets his PPP loan.
Big Lenny might be a write-off. He might be an employee. He might get a stipend from having Lenny living in his house and working there, training him. But they got a good setup there. So Big Lenny seems like he's doing better. For a while, he was, although he's still experimenting with the GHB. And I asked him if he's still having his transsexual encounters, and he said he got caught sneaking one into the house. Aladdin wasn't happy about that, especially during the quarantine, I guess.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I know. I saw a big ad. There was a thing on CNN today about we were kidding about that on the radio show about prostitution. Even prostitutes don't have.
Even they're out of business.
Yeah, well, even they're afraid right now.
Right. It's crazy. I went to the supermarket today, and
they're talking about closing.
Really?
Yeah.
Closing the supermarkets?
Yeah, just you put in an order and come pick it up. That's it.
No, that would be horrendous.
That's a little bit of a talk today. You can legit talk.
Wow. Well, as David, have you seen any of that David Icke interviews that he did on London Real or
No, what's he?
His whole thing is that that there's a cabal, the secrets, people that are controlling this whole thing. I believe some.
You think it's Bill Gates? I know you do.
No. He thinks that Bill Gates is in on the whole thing, but that he doesn't think that Bill Gates is orchestrating.
George Soros pulling
those guys, the Rockefellers and all those people are just, he said, pawns of the real underground cabal.
Oh yeah.
But it's interesting because some of what he says makes sense. That there's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of, anytime someone dies in a hospital now, it's COVID-19. They blame it on that. There's a lot of doctors that have come out and complained about that. Actually, it said that every diagnosis now has to be like COVID-19, death in the hospital, COVID-19. Yeah, and it's all tech. So it's pumping up the numbers a lot.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump was actually arguing with Cuomo? Because Cuomo had asked for all these ventilators and now they're not using them. And Trump's like,
dude, you know what? You can't defend Trump here. We don't even have fucking testing in this country.
Yeah,
we don't even have testing. He 2 months ago he said anyone who wants a test can get a test. We don't even have testing.
Right. No.
We don't.
I think the testing is becoming more prevalent now, actually, believe it or not.
Obviously it's not. Everyone's still locked down. So it's either a cabal or we don't have tests. I mean, it's one of the two. It can't be both.
It seems a little weird that we're all locked down, and you know what? Businesses are falling apart now, and a lot of people are hurting. I've talked to a couple business owners, and
I've talked to probably 30.
They're not doing well at all.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
I feel bad. I mean, I'm lucky. I feel, knock on wood, thank God I'm making money still, but this is going to hurt this country. Did you see 24-Hour Fitness is thinking about bankruptcy, declaring bankruptcy?
24-Hour Fitness filed for bankruptcy.
I just saw that.
AMC Theater had to float another $500 million of debt to stay in business.
Really?
You got to feel bad. I mean, everybody is hurting, but I mean, the flip side is liberate it. Trump wants to liberate it now, wants to liberate states and open it all up. Would you take your kids into a restaurant tomorrow?
Would you go to the gym tomorrow?
I wouldn't, no. Would I? No.
Right?
Would you?
I don't know if I was. If I was in the midst of my bodybuilding career,
I know, but because you'd be nuts.
But then again, I probably would already have access to it. I probably never would have stopped working out. I would have had some friend of mine.
The 52-year-old today, would you go to your local gym if they said,
no, absolutely.
Well, you have a medical background, so
I wouldn't go. I was asking Amanda. We were trying to go over like how you can, because she's she always figure out how to stay.
You can't go out of your house technically until we have testing where we know, okay, this guy, and this lady have already had it. Maybe they have antibodies, or these people don't have it, so they're at risk. Look, or these people have already had it.
This is what I would do if they open the gyms again, which I think they're going to. I did a video on it. I would wear gloves, not the medical gloves. I would get a pair of weightlifting gloves that cover my entire hand. I would, as soon as I'd put them on when I got in there. When I got out, I'd have a separate gym bag I would bring with me with a change of clothes in it. Okay. And I would have my mask. I would get my physique wear apparel.com, and I would get my little designer mask I'd have on. I'd do my workout. I wouldn't go near anyone. They should have a spray bottle on every machine so people can clean up the machines after. I think that's smart. And when I was done with my workout, I'd go into the locker room. I would change completely into all new clothes. I put everything into the gym bag, including the gloves, and I walk directly out of the gym. Do not pass go. Do not pay $200. If anyone knows Monopoly, that's my little joke. And I'd get into my car and I would disinfect my
well,
hands and I would go home. And I would shower when I got home, and that would be the end of it.
That's your advice for other people, but your wife would never let you go near the gym.
No, of course she would. No, of course not. But I'm saying if I had to go, I had to go.
That's my point. I mean, it's like the extreme. If I had to go, but the flip side is,
if I was single, I'd be going. You know,
I know, because you don't have kids to put at risk.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's like I don't even dare to visit my mother. You know, because
she's older. Yeah, you don't want to get her sick.
She's already got a million, ailments left, right, and center. So
yeah. Well, look what happened to Bob Grushkin.
I know.
Bob, died of coronavirus, essentially.
And that's one of the doctors who just say coronavirus, as you said.
Yeah. Now, we did a great tribute, and I want to thank you for helping to make that happen on Bob this past week. If you guys haven't seen it, there's 2 parts. It's Chris, Jeff King, Matt Dufresne, John Defendis. Who else was I missing? And what's his name?
Scalise.
Jerry Scalise. And it was great. I, as a fan of the sport, truly enjoyed listening to you guys tell Bob stories because
it's like the Seinfeld. Bob was like the Seinfeld. The house was like a Seinfeld set.
Right. People in and out of there all the time, right?
All the time. Dave, I missed. He would be the only time I would see a little bit of like, I don't know if it wasn't really ego, but he would just enjoy it.
Oh, he must have been smirking from ear to ear.
And very few people had answer machines in those days. Mm-hmm. But like I said on the show, we'd go out and then come back for 4 hours. We'd go to Metro Fair to go eat somewhere, come back maybe about 6 hours. Sometimes I'm dead serious. You have 93 messages. And it'd be like, beep, hey, Bob, this is Tom Terwilliger. Just want to, beep, this is John Defendis. Just want to, beep, this is, but the list would go down to like,
right. Would he get annoyed or did he love it?
No, he'd like raise his eyebrows, especially it'd be like, a big high profile name or something. Be like, what's he want? What's he want?
Who was the biggest name you ever heard, call him?
Lee Haney.
Really? Lee Haney called him. And what would Lee Haney, what
I
did
don't
Lee
know.
Haney?
Yeah, just take it like this. Hi, Lee. Oh, I don't know. Lee Haney called him.
But Bob, what was he asking? Like advice? Bob never told
I can't. No, he never told me. Hi, Lee.
Lee, it had to be like a drug question or something like that because probably Lee didn't know what he was doing. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll ask Lee next time I see him.
Well, my friend, Doug Wentz told me, and I'm going to have Doug on this coming week because Doug has probably more stories than anyone, and so I wanted to give him his own show. Doug told me that no one knew anything. No one knew anything about diuretics. He said when we go to these shows, like people would be like, they never heard of Aldactone. Bob had like a bag with him with all the diuretics in it, and most of the bodybuilders had no clue as to what a diuretic even was. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, Dave,
we take it for granted nowadays.
All of this stuff. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. All of it came from Bob.
That's what Doug said too. Doug said everything came from Bob.
Because I can tell you how many people I've prepped, and they just, it's like a multi-level marketing, like Amway. They help 10 people. Those people help 10 people. And I've been doing it for 30 years. Right. Where do you think the people in Boston got it from? They got it either from Bob or from, 10, 12, 15 years later, me, which was 1980s. You know what I mean? Right. Or not, or other people Bob helped, who all that stuff just trickled down. But
it's funny that no one knew about any of this stuff because people don't realize there was no internet. There really were no books initially, too. I mean, Bill Phillips' Anabolic Reference Guide and the Steroid Guru book didn't come out till the 90s. So
ask Doug about those books because those were like plagiarized junk, compared to what Bob. I mean, this is like, I read it.
But Phillips was the first person to really kind of quantify everything. I think that Phillips' book was probably way better than Dan Duchesne's book. It was really written by Michael Zampano, but the Anabolic Reference Guide was good. That's why I learned almost everything, but it didn't really give you protocols of how to apply like diuretics. It just told you what the drug was and how it was used. Mm-hmm. So I think Bob was the first person to really say, all right, here's the methodology, right?
Yeah.
this you're going to do this many days of this many days of that. That you're going to cut your salt here, and you're going to add carbs here, and he had it all figured out. I mean, all the knowledge that I got was from Doug, who got it from Bob. So, we all stole from Bob basically, and then made it our own. Really, I mean, if you think about it, right?
No, without a doubt. I can remember Mike Furt. I told you on the show. I said I used to call Bob after every single person I would prep, and I remember calling him from like a payphone at the Beacon Theater. Yeah, Mike Francois just won the the Night of Champions. I was like, good job.
Do you think he was proud of you, or was there a little bit of jealousy that he wasn't?
Nothing. Zippo.
No, because Doug also told me Bob just didn't get really along with the NPC. He really didn't do a lot of NPC stuff. He goes, matter of fact, Doug was the first person he really worked with that was doing NPC shows. Everyone else was AAU, or NABA, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he's. I don't know why he didn't. Segue into the NPC, because he should have. And right. A lot of times he kept athletes like close, I don't want to say under control, but, he kept them in AAU and NABA and, the list of names. A lot of these people could have been home runs in the NPC.
Oh, yeah.
Home runs. I mean, a good physique when you see it.
Right.
So,
Jeff King would have been a great one.
I mean, the list, come on. The list is, I could come up with a list of 30 people right off the top of my head who would have been phenomenal, had they been groomed through the NPC. But for one reason or the other, he decided to keep them in the AAU or NABA. And, he never really had a negative word to say about the NPC, really.
Wasn't he involved in running the NABA also? So I think that maybe that's why he probably.
Yeah, and he was a traditionalist. You know what I mean? He kind of liked that Mr. America title, Mr. Universe. Because he wasn't in it for like money and careers.
Right. Right.
Natashak, he helped Natashak. Natashak went through the NPC.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Johnny. I remember. Every time I see Natashak had the world's greatest hair.
I know. Now he's bald. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, he was. What? Not only that, but John, don't take it the wrong way. He was, he's still a good-looking guy, John. But he was like the best-looking physique and guy and he was 176 pounds.
Crazy, right? He was like a Vince Comfort, right?
He looked like 199. 198, 210 all day long, and he was 174, 175.
Crazy, right? Wow.
Phenomenal physique.
But you can compete as a pro at that. I mean, Labrada was doing it, right?
Yeah, John did one or two, did really well. A couple times he competed. I don't know why John stopped competing.
Yeah, I think he had some injuries.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. He did have some type of injury.
Did you watch the Wayne D'Amelia interview with Patrick David?
Yeah. First, that's I did see it. Long.
What'd you think of it? I watched the whole thing.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I don't think there was any bombshells or
no.
It
really was about Wayne. It really had nothing to do with what's going on now.
Yeah.
Or with how the split or anything. I mean, Wayne kind of lied in a sense. I mean, he made it seem like he quit, but is what it is. It doesn't really matter why he left. From what I understand. What happened was there was, that was when the AMI came in.
Is that the yeah?
Well, Wayne really built himself. I mean, it's amazing the story he told about how he kind of worked his way in there and became the promoter that he was. There was no one really promoting. I mean, no one knew how to promote. Yeah, he had his own vision. He did some cool stuff. Ben, I love the story. I didn't know a lot of these stories. I love the fact that Ben would call him up like after he would do crazy stuff at Night of Champions. Like he brought a camel in one year and Muhammad Makaway made him ride it out on stage. And it was, people loved it in New York. And Ben Weeder was pissed off. He thought it was like that Wayne was like running a circus or something like that. He was so mad at him that he did that. He was screaming at him. And I didn't realize that he had this this relationship with the Weeders where he was always arguing with them,
Yeah, I had heard that.
Did you?
I had heard that him and Ben would butt heads, but I didn't know really the extent, and I never really believed it. I figured, why would they be butting heads if he's
Right.
promoting shows that are sold out?
Yeah.
And he's doing shows in Europe. He do those tours every year.
Sure.
Those were not 3 and 4 shows. Those were sometimes 10 shows.
Yeah, in like 10 days.
Yeah.
2 weeks. The funny thing was that he really, he really did change, I guess, the way, bodybuilding was perceived and was held and promoted. Who knew there was only one show? There was only like one pro show, really. I mean, if you think about it, before he did Night of Champions.
He said I didn't know that the prejudging was no audience.
There's no audience, right? Yeah, he did say that.
Or the posing, they would pose to house music rather than their own music.
The Exodus, right? The music from Exodus. Everyone would pose to the same music.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought in, you can post your own music too at Night of Champions.
Yeah, I love that he had the numbers down to a T.
Yeah, he knew exactly what his break even was and all that stuff. It was simpler back then, though. You know what I mean? Think about it. There was no internet. Everything was marketed. He had to go to gyms and market himself, through the gyms. They sold tickets for the show.
Yeah,
it was nuts. And one of the great stories he told was when the Bath Beach gym in Brooklyn, which was a huge gym. Well, I didn't even know this. John Travolta used to train there. All the celebrities trained there.
Mm-hmm.
And he went there to help. He wanted to market Night of Champions. And the owner was like really cocky because he had such a, famous gym. And he didn't believe that Wayne was actually promoting that it had the show and was going to have pros. And he's like, I'll bring Robbie Robinson into your gym. And I guess Robbie was a really big name. It was almost like Kai Green back in the day.
Yeah.
And they're like, Robbie Robinson. They're like, you're not. So Wayne had to basically tell me, look, I'll bring him down to your gym on this date. If I bring him, you got to sell tickets to the show for me, that kind of thing. That was the only way he was able to get them to sell their tickets. He said, he walked into the gym with Robbie. It was like the Red Sea parted. It was like Moses. He said Robbie was like a god there. And a lot of people don't even realize. I didn't know. I wasn't following bodybuilding back then. I didn't know. But Robbie was a big deal. He won that Night of Champions.
Was it 78?
It must have been, right?
78. Yeah, think of that. I think so.
It's crazy, right? That Robbie was so popular.
Yeah.
And it was great that Robbie came in a month early just to do that appearance for Wayne, to help promote that show. And I think he obviously got Robbie some money, and he fed him and put him up in his house and all that stuff. But it was interesting. Wayne's issue was when AMI came in. This is the way I understand it. When they came in and bought the Weider magazines, the publications, Weider at the last minute pulled a fast one on him and said, "Well, you didn't get the Olympia. You just bought the publications and the whatever they bought."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "What do you mean we didn't get? What do you mean we didn't get the Olympia? That's the whole. That's part of the whole. No, it's and so I think from what I understand, AMI was looking around like, what are we going to do?" And Wayne was like, "Well, I run the bodybuilding professional division through my own corporation. Really, it's not through the IFBB, it's through my Pro Division Inc. company that I started. These athletes sign contracts with me." He goes, "We don't need the Weeders, we'll do it on our own,
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he felt that he would make more money that way. And it was, in a sense, it was a little greedy, and maybe it was because he had this weird relationship with the Weeders. They were getting older. I guess once the Weeders got wind of that, they all of a sudden ponied up 50% of the Olympia to the AMI. And Wayne was left out as the traitor in the storm, so to speak. He looked like the guy who kind of sold him out.
Mm-hmm.
So he was out.
But he doesn't say that in the interview. Right?
No, he doesn't say it at all. But I know that's the story. So he kind of screwed himself in a way by getting a little greedy rather than remain loyal to them. And so obviously Mannion was very loyal to them, and they promoted him to president, and that's how Jim Mannion took over the IFBB Pro League. But really, I mean, I don't think Jim didn't even want to do it. I remember when he got the thing, he told me, because I don't want to do this. It was more work for him,
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't own the IFBB, so he didn't want to be bothered with it at the time, at least. And but once Wayne, kind of double crossed him a little bit, they couldn't keep him in there. So I think Wayne regrets it. He'll say he didn't, because he was going through like prostate cancer at the time, and He said he was ready to get out, but
Well, he says right in the interview that he has,
still has it.
Yeah. Do you have an interest? He doesn't shoot it down and say, no, I have no interest. And I mean, you don't come on a show to do an interview with, potentially 1 million viewers if you don't have an interest getting your foot back in the game.
He's 70 now.
Unless you got an axe to grind. And there's apparently, I mean, I didn't listen in detail because I was working, but he didn't sound like he axed, or had any things to grind or,
Yeah, no, he was
people to throw under the bus other than your friend Sean Ray.
Isn't it amazing that Sean Ray always gets thrown under the bus by everyone?
I've been doing it for a decade.
I'm gonna get a text message from him now, but yeah, that was I'm sure that was coming. Well, him and Wayne always were arguing with each other, and you know what? Unfortunately, Sean was probably right a lot of times. About all the stuff that he brought up to Wayne, right? I mean, about the athletes and stuff like that.
Wayne, I don't think he was right. I thought Wayne gave the perspective that shot down anything Sean came up with starting with the judges that, there were American judges, then European judges, and the way they, the way they rotated judges or the money.
Well, they were the same judges every year, pretty much, though. They still are.
They still are.
Yeah.
So
I think Sean's point was if the judges don't like you and you're running the same judges every year, they're never going to like you.
Well, the point is you're getting beat every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
but right.
The reality is Sean is getting beat every year, so he conflates these issues. That's like saying Sean Roden or Jay Cutler can never win the Olympia because they've never won the Olympia.
Right.
So that
look what happened.
That idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Or or Dexter can never win the Olympia because he's never won the Olympia and he wins the Olympia. So that torpedoes that idea. Sure. It's also the idea that Wayne was getting rich on the live stream.
Right. And they weren't even selling that many. And then the interesting part also is that Wayne, reveals is that the Weeders, whatever the profit was that Wayne made on the Olympia, the Weeders took 2/3 of it.
Big chunk. That's a big chunk.
Yeah. Well, it was basically their show that Wayne promoted, basically for them. He kind of just did it.
Yes, he did. Having said that, they could not do it.
No,
like we could do it.
No way.
So you have to weigh what greed is. To me, that sounds greedy. 2/3.
Yeah, but it's interesting. They were making a lot of money back then. So the question is, I don't think they're making that kind of money now, or at least they weren't. Until pre-Jake Wood.
Yeah, you can never get into. You know what? You never know the internal numbers. You just never know. It's just like a real estate company. It looks like you could be making a ton of money, fully tenanted building. Say, God, this guy's got to be making tons of money. And you say, God, he went bankrupt. How? He said, well, he lost 7% of his tenants. 7%. That's it. He said, well, it costs him like $200,000 a year. I mean, a month to maintain the building.
Sure.
So I mean, you know what I mean? It's what on the outside, a restaurant. It's another business could look super full and super busy all the time, and then they shut the doors.
Well, the overhead is too high. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, I'm just it looks like the Olympia makes money, right? Or makes a lot of money because we go and everyone's happy and it's crowded and the stage looks great, but who really knows? I mean, the interesting thing is Wayne put it right out there and said, "This is exactly what I made on the show." Yeah,
he knew the numbers pretty well. What did he say? He made 800,000 on the show, and then the Weeders took 2/3.
So what he end up with?
200, something like
200.
that.
200. So divided by 50 weeks, he's making what? $4,000 a week.
It's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of effort.
Time, effort to put on something like that.
But he was making most of his money, I think, on his Night of the Champions, and then probably on that European tour. He was pocketing money on that thing. Mm-hmm. Had to. He was doing well. He was definitely doing well for himself, and he liked what he did. And I think that's an important point to really bring up.
Well, his last year was what year?
2003, I think, was his last Olympia.
Yeah, $200,000 in 2003 is different than $200,000 also in 2020, big time. True. So,
but you know what? I think he was getting a little bit. You definitely get burnt out. I don't know how. When I look back at all the shows I went to, like pre having kids, I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you. But then again, I had nothing else going on, so it was to me it was fun, going. Yeah. Now I'm like, another show. You know what? Also, when I was going to shows, the shows were not as long as they are now.
That's true.
There weren't as many divisions. Can you? I think it was fun. I thought going to shows was fun when it was just bodybuilding, women's and men. Remember back in the 90s? I mean, it was fun to go to a show. It didn't last that long. It was 2.5 hours, And they had to actually find stuff that they had to get guest posers and stuff like that to make it last a little longer, to make people feel like they were getting their money's worth, because it really didn't take that long. But it was cool because it was all bodybuilding. It wasn't like because it could wear you out if you're there. When you're there at a show, and I've done prejudgings, you've been with me. We've been there for 12 hours.
Sure.
And it's exhausting. It really is. Sometimes it takes out the fun out of it. But you know what? At the time, I was so enthusiastic to provide this content to the people at home that was what was driving me. It was like these people are sitting home waiting for it. Nowadays, everyone has a cell phone and they're live streaming it. When I was doing it, when we first started RxMuscle,
forget
didn't
about
have that. No,
the wrap up alone would be like the biggest.
Yeah.
Arnold wrap up would be viewed by a gazillion people.
Yeah. So
remember when Periscope first came out and they went nuts? Periscope,
right?
Periscope. What was it? It was like a live streaming on your phone.
It was like what you can do with Instagram now, but you couldn't do it with that. Instagram kind of really responded very quickly to Periscope, right? And then where are they now? They went out of business pretty fast. What else?
I told you I talked to Levrone on live stream.
Oh yeah. What's going on? You've been doing a lot of live streams, I've noticed.
Well, there's this thing called the coronavirus, which we don't have enough testing for. So I have to stay home like everyone else on Earth. So every day I've been doing Instagram Live. So the other day, Levrone, a lot of people click in and I bring them in, but I don't know how to bring them in yet. Technically, they have to request to come in. So I see Levrone, and I thought it was like, one of these like,
fake accounts.
Yeah. And so I said, "Oh, Kevin Levrone's here." And
by the way, it's Levrone.
Levrone.
Yeah.
And I said, "Why don't you, Kevin, come on." He said, I don't know how to come in.
Yeah.
And he said, "Invite me." And I said, "I don't know how to do that either." So he was with his training partner, Scott, and Scott got him to come in. And Scott had just sent me a Instagram message like last week about the junior nationals or something like that. And I met Levrone. Yeah, I feel like Forrest Gump. I met Levrone or saw Levrone when I went down to New Jersey with Paul DeMeo, and I was in full technician mode. You're going to win this. Go to the nationals. Mm-hmm. You got it. Go right into the Olympia. And we get down to the juniors, and we stay in some like $50 hotel. And Paul gets sick, throwing up. And it just made him so tight and so hard, Dave. You know how it can either go either ways, flat and, he got so tight and so hard. I was like, you got it. He goes to weigh in. Mm-hmm. And he comes out of weigh in, and he looked like he was going to pass out. And I thought, oh, God, the sickness is, whatever he threw up from. And he was white. And he was white because he said, I just saw this guy backstage who I don't think I can beat.
At the weigh-in,
I just thought he was a head case. I said, well, I didn't know I was dealing with like a head case, And I said, Paul, there's no way. We're at the junior nationals. We're not at the nationals. There is no way you were losing this show. I said, what's this guy have, legs? And he says, yeah, he's got legs. I said, like yours? He said, well, not like mine, but they're really good. And I said, like, what do you mean? Then I get a little panic. I was young. What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? And
Levrone had really good legs. People don't remember when he first came out. Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, they look really good. They're separated and deep. I said, deeper than yours? He said, I think so. So I said, well, you got this, because Paul had the crazy delts and crazy triceps.
Right.
And when he said, I think his triceps are as good as mine.
Right. And Levrone is like 2 inches wider than DeMeo, probably too. Yeah.
Dave, I said, this can't be happening, because I know Paul is not.
No one knew who Levrone was. That's why he'd only done one show. Yeah.
Well, DeMeo knew within 2 seconds. Wow. So they come out and they battle it out. And Dave Levrone, which I reminded him, he brought a bus load of people from Maryland.
Oh, did he bust them all?
And when they called Paul and Levrone, you could not hear. It was so loud. And so Paul wins. I think it was by a point or 2 points.
Did he deserve it, you think?
Yeah, he deserved it. for sure. But I knew I worried about, and I don't worry about anyone in bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm.
anytime ever. I was worried all the way to the nationals. Like,
You said this guy is going to be dangerous. Yeah.
So Paul goes out there. I didn't go for. I can't remember what it was. Maybe Pittsburgh. I didn't go for some reason. And Paul ends up third, Wheeler second, Levrone first, and I said, Paul, I'm telling you right now, Levrone and Wheeler are going to go down as the two of the best in bodybuilding ever.
Right.
That's a quote. That is a quote. Can you imagine from the Nationals?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Paul. So you can't get down after having lost to two guys who can win the Olympia soon.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's how it panned out. You know?
And what was it? Was who was fourth? Mendenhall? And was Ronnie Coleman fifth? I know that.
Coleman was, I think Mendenhall was fourth.
And Coleman was fifth.
Someone else was sixth.
It was like Ronnie's second show or something like that.
Yeah.
Ronnie had been training for like a year.
And
Brian,
what a lineup. Think of that lineup. Think of that top five.
That was a great top five. Yeah.
And so we were kidding about that. And Levrone said,
yeah,
he told me, Chris, I was 208. I won the Maryland. And 1 year later, I was competing next to Paul at 238. And then he gained like another 4 pounds going into nationals.
Nationals. It's crazy.
And his coach, Scott, or the guy who's been training with him from day one, was on the Instagram Live. And he said, Chris, Kevin could eat like he'd get bigger by the day. And I said, yeah, that's how Jay was. They would get bigger by the day.
Right, but they probably didn't want to say it was Levrone was probably natural at the first show he did. And then he gained 40 pounds at the next year. Because he was a hyper responder. I'm sure as soon as he took his first drug, he just fucking grew like crazy.
I did not know that Kevin was talking, man, those were the days. And he said, so I go to the Nationals, Chris, and I win the Nationals. And Jim Mannion says, you got to go out and see Joe Weider. He's like, for what? Joe Weider. Yeah. And he tells Jim, I've never been on an airplane before. And so Joe sent him the ticket.
Yeah.
And he flies out there, and he described it just like Jay. Like, he goes to the building and you'd like bewildered. You look around.
Kevin's bewildered anyway, in general.
Yeah, of course.
Jay probably was taking notes, when he was.
Yeah, exactly. And you go out and you see all the the paintings of Arnold,
right.
And, Frank Zane, and then you see all the Remington statues, and then you take the elevator, the beautiful elevator.
Wow.
And when you get up, there's another office, and that's Joe's office, but it's like behind bulletproof glass. And he said the secretary's there. I said he couldn't remember her name. I said it's Annalise.
Right.
And then they make you wait out there for like an hour.
Well, remember Wayne told the story Wayne told. He said he went to see the Weider. Remember, he sat there from like 12 in the afternoon to like 6 at night or something like that.
Yeah, Dave. I used to go see Weider, and I'd go in for like a 10 o'clock. Let's say I'd go in for like a 4 o'clock appointment. I'd get up there at like 3:45 and go in to see him at 4, and you'd see like well-named bodybuilders sitting and waiting. He would make everyone wait, and sometimes he would just never get to him and say. Annalise would come out and say, "Dave, you have to come back again tomorrow." And they'd be the bodybuilder. Okay. So, when Levrone met him, and first thing he says is, "Take off your shirt," and
let me see what you would look like, Kevin.
Yeah, and that's it. Kevin's trying to tell me, that was not long ago. Then I said, Kevin, it was like 30 years ago. Wow, that was 30 years ago. But he came blazing. I mean, they all did. Him, Wheeler, eventually Ronnie.
I told you the story when I went to Kevin. I drove down to Kevin's house in '96 when he was getting ready for the Arnold. When I helped him for like 6 weeks. Yeah. And I'm in his kitchen, and he's like, "You want some chicken breast?" He's cooking chicken breast, and I'm like, "Let me see what you look like." I'm 315 at this point. He's 6 weeks ago. He had sent me like a Polaroid picture, and he looked terrible. He looked like he had never trained. I was like, "He's not that good." I get down there. 6 weeks later, I'm like, "Let me see what you look like already." He's like, all right. He takes his shirt off. I'm like, I wanted to leave the house and say I'm quitting bodybuilding. That's how good this guy looked.
Yeah.
He was so amazing. I couldn't believe it. I said, I can't believe the transformation you made in 6 weeks. I said, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, 90, the early years. I told Kevin I was at the Night of Champions when he won.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you didn't even need a call out. You know what he reminded me?
Right.
I only got one. We did a couple of poses and they said, Kevin, back in line.
Oh, really?
I don't remember that.
Wow.
I just remember him being so impressive that, hyperbole. I said, you didn't need a call out. He said, I barely got one.
Didn't he lose to Porter Cottrell like 2 weeks before that at the Chicago Pro?
Yes, you're right. You have a good memory. Yes. Yes, he did.
What was that about? Was he just not ready or something like that?
Who knows? I
mean, Porter was really polished looking, but
not. Forget it.
Of Levrone's status. But Levrone probably didn't know what he was doing. That back then either.
Yeah. Well, you know what he said, and this really struck a chord. Is his training partner Scott said when he was I think it was ready for the Nationals in New York Pro, he went to pick him up and he was trying to eat a hot dog, and Scott said, "You can't eat a hot dog."
That's funny.
And yelled at him and said, "You can't eat a hot dog."
Right.
Said, "Come on, we're going to the gym." They go outside and get in the car to go for a gym, get ready to go to the gym. And LeBron says, "Oh man, hold on a minute. I got to run back in. I forgot something." And he comes back out and Scott said, "You ate that hot dog, didn't you?" And he said, "Yeah, I ate the hot dog." But his point, he went on to make is he said, he had very acute instincts on what his body needed when. What it needed and when it needed it. And he said a lot of his, contest prep from the training, the diet came from his, his intuitiveness.
Sure.
Which is, a gift really. It's very hard to be intuitive with your own body, because you're fighting a lot of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you play games in your head, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Do I need to be fuller? Do I need to be harder? And he said he always made the good decisions.
Look at this picture of Kevin. It was a wacky shot.
Yeah, that's 95.
What a shot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's on Instagram.
The shoulders, huh?
Crazy
Anything,
shoulders and triceps.
See if you can pull up, just Google New York Pro, Night of Champions. What year did he win it? 92?
I see Mike Francois in the backdrop
Yeah.
there. So what was that? What show could that have been from?
95 Olympia.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It's a crazy shot.
98.
He was so wide. People don't realize that what killed me, what blew me away was when I stood next to him. His width was so impressive with the shoulder.
And the triceps.
He had some of the best shoulders in bodybuilding, but he also had some of the widest clavicles also.
Yeah.
It was impressive. And the triceps, the way they came off the delts were almost like cartoonish looking, like to the point where this can't be human. This can't be a human being I'm looking at. There's no way. That's how impressive he was in person. He never really he never tapped into his potential.
No. See if you can grab Night of Champions 1992. I think that was the year he won it.
Yeah.
He was absolutely sensational. Peeled out.
I remember he was his legs. That was when his legs were tremendous.
Oh, 92. That's why I want you to grab a picture from 92.
He was he was way impressive in person. You had to see him in person. He guest posed at a show. Seriously, he had to be almost 300 pounds. He guest posed it right after he won the Nationals. He couldn't even get his pants on and off. I was backstage, I remember, and I'm like, I couldn't believe how big he was. I just couldn't believe it. Hold on, I got a picture here. Let me pull this up here. When people see this picture, you'll see how great his legs were. You'll know what we're talking about. I don't know what happened to his legs. I think what happens is he stopped training in the off season, and when you do that, your legs just don't come back. Watch this. This Levrone shot. Hold on a second here. That shot, right?
Yeah, that's another Champions. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Great quads.
Look at the width on him.
Yeah, that picture still don't do him justice. I sound like bodybuilders. That pictures don't do me no justice. Don't do him any justice. Kevin.
Bob would have loved Kevin.
Oh yeah, I think he liked him anyway. Yeah, he loved
he
Kevin's
did?
physique. Oh yeah, he loved Kevin LeBron's physique.
Here's another one. Hold on. This is a great shot. Let me see if I can pull this one up here.
The crunch shot from the Night of Champions.
Hold on. This is a good. I got a good side chest shot of him.
Look at that detail. Look at
Right?
that. That's
Look at
like
that
Robbie
craziness.
Robinson.
Nuts, right?
Right here, right? This one. Yeah, the one in the middle with the intercostals.
That one.
This is the when he won the I think New York or the Olympia.
This was the same year when he came in second at the Olympia. Yeah.
No, this is 94, 95 right here with the red trunk.
Oh, okay. That was a good year.
His first year out when Dorian won the Olympia, he was peeled out of his mind too.
That's Night of Champions too.
Yeah. Look at the abs.
He was crazy.
He had I told me he had a little blonde highlights. I remember he posed a crisscross. He had black trunks, and the New York crowd went absolutely ballistic.
If he would have not torn that pec, and I think that he even said it himself. He said that really made him a little gun shy after that.
Yeah, from the 600. You know what he told me? He said, I think it was like right. He said, yeah, I was squatting like when he was getting ready for that. I think it was getting ready for that juniors.
Mm-hmm.
No belt, no knee wraps,
right?
No shoes.
The old one. When I went down
500 pounds for reps. 500 for reps. So maybe he said 600.
Let me tell you something. I went down there 6 weeks out from the Arnold. We went to the gym. I stayed overnight. I made him put me in a hotel. I said, I'm not driving back the same day if I'm helping you out. So we went and we trained. I think it was either the day I got there or the next day. And we did legs together. I'm 315. What did he weigh for contest? I don't know. 260 maybe, 250 at that point.
247.
Because he was still 6 weeks out, Yeah. So he was still had some weight on him. And we squatted. We did 5 sets of squats. We did 600-pound squats, both of us, for about the same reps. So we both did about 6 reps with 600. And he made it look effortless. And he was 60 pounds or 70 pounds lighter than me. Mm-hmm. The guy was a freak. I mean, he was just unbelievable. It was just, and if you would have seen what he looked like I told you, like 6 weeks before that, the guy there was no way he could have squatted 2 plates. He had no legs. They just blew up. It's crazy. I mean, and if you remember, he beat Wheeler, a very good Wheeler that year.
That was 94.
Oh, was it 94? Am I confusing? Yeah, maybe you're right. No, I don't think. No, it was 96.
No, okay. Did Laura? Okay, then Laura won in 96 too. Laura won.
Yeah. It was like a 1-point decision.
Levrone. It was a 1-point decision. That was probably Wheeler's all-time best.
Yeah.
And
that's why the Wheeler was pissed off that Levrone beat him.
Well, it was LeBron's all-time biggest.
I'll tell you why he was biggest. I had him doing insulin. I said you could use a little insulin. Right up to the show, I had him using insulin. He had never done it. I had just started really working with it myself. I'm like, I pulled the old Milosh on him.
Yeah.
We're going to do some insulin. He goes, yeah. I don't know how to do it. I'm like, this is how you're going to do it. It wasn't a lot, but it kept him really full.
Yeah, he was tremendous at it.
And he never would have beat Wheeler had he not done it because he wouldn't have been big enough, I think.
That's right. I just said.
Wheeler was round on stage.
Yeah, Wheeler was very hard for that show, too. That could have gone either way. I actually had Levrone. I thought Levrone was going to win basically because he wasn't as tight as he was like in that side chest you just showed, but he was tight enough with the additional size that it was impressive. And that was probably one of the best Arnold lineups of all time.
Absolutely.
That had Dillette in it, Andreas Munzer. I think Sean Ray got waxed. Did he? Did he?
I don't remember.
Okay, I think so. It was Wheeler second.
Vince Taylor was in there, right?
Yeah, Vince Taylor looked tremendous. That was one of Vince's best looks.
I think it was if I'm trying to remember, like who was in the lineup. I just remember Wheeler versus Levrone.
Yeah, Wheeler had yellow trunks. Levrone wore black trunks. Gillette didn't know how to flex his back or do a front lat spread like a Coleman.
Like as always. Unbelievable, right? That the guy couldn't pose.
That was a freak. Get a picture of that lineup. Dave was freaky.
I'm pulling up a picture right now. Hold on a second.
Wheeler versus Levrone. That was like the showdown of the ages. And people don't understand that there was only bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding, I think. Maybe they had figure or something, but they'd sell out that prejudge and the electricity in the prejudging was just unbelievable.
Yeah, people going. That was one of the. No, I had gone to the Arnold. That was my third Arnold, but people were going crazy there. They were going absolutely nuts. And you had to be there. You had to feel the energy. It was palpable.
Well, you got to show the picture, Dave, so people don't think you're just like.
I'm trying to pull up the pictures. There's not that many pictures.
Right?
There's a.
Google.
Let me see if this comes up. Hold on.
Look at that picture.
That was look at Wheeler versus Levrone in that picture. And the pictures would not do these guys justice. Believe me.
Well, there's some up there that do them justice. Look at this lineup right here to all the way upper left hand corner.
Look, there's Gillette,
Levrone, and look at Wheeler.
Yeah.
Look at Gillette, dude.
Gillette was. If the guy knew how to pose, he would have been seriously dangerous. Seriously dangerous. Is this the? That's not the same year, is it?
No, I don't think so. No, Levrone had.
No, yeah, that wasn't the same year.
It's the black trunks, black. Yeah, look at the shoulders there.
Look at the shoulders there, and the triceps and the arms. And I guarantee Levrone didn't shoot his arms. There was no way. Crazy.
I always said, yeah. Levrone was always at his best when he had like the Indonesian Asian.
Yeah.
Right?
Why? Because his face was so sucked out.
Yeah, just look at it there.
Yeah, it was impressive. He was one of the guys that we talk about who probably never reached his full potential, and everyone always wonders, how good could he have been?
Look at that lower corner picture, Dave, with the front lat spread.
This one?
Yep. Look at the legs there.
Yeah, this one. His legs were still really good. Look at the width on him too.
I know.
The lat spread. He was probably one of the greatest. Him and Flex, probably the two greatest that never won the Olympia, right? Would you say?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I told Kevin, I said, I asked him, what do you, looking back over your career, what do you mesmerized with more? The fan following or your peers recognition? Because if you ask like Jay or Dexter or Cormier or Dorian or Ronnie, name your top 5 toughest competitors. Levrone's always in there.
Oh yeah.
And and the thing with Levrone is you don't know what he had so many different looks from like.
That was the problem. He never really he only nailed it a couple times at his best. And even that 90, people don't remember the 98 Olympia that Ronnie won and that Flex was a very close second. Levrone, I think, was 5th that year. He went to the European tour after that and dominated that tour. He won every show because he tightened up. He was he was huge at the Olympia. He was just a little soft, right?
Dave, you are a genius. 98, was I there? Oh no, 98, 97. 97, he won all the shows on the tour.
Right, but he was even better at 98.
97 was a 2-day show. I think it might have been the first, I believe. And Kevin, I think it was a 2-day show. I went to the show and I was like, wow, Kevin's really off prejudge for Kevin. And they had him lined up for 5th or 6th. At the night show, he was out of his mind. And I thought he could have won that year.
Oh, really?
He showed up the way.
That was the year Dorian was off, yeah.
Yeah, and he was off and he looked unbelievable the second day. But he was just too far behind.
Right.
Maybe you can pull up a night show photo, 1998, 2000.
Yeah, let me see what I can pull up here. He was wacky at the Olympia, though. I mean, at the post Olympia.
97 finals, 1997. He wore red trunks for the finals.
He shaved his head, I think, for that Olympia, too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. There it is. Looks like a freak at the night show. Crazy. He's hitting the most muscular next to Nasser, and he's definitely better than Nasser. Nasser's his close call. Nasser looked tremendous that year.
Yeah. There's him next to Ronnie. Look how big Kevin was.
He was big in where? Let me see. Hold on.
Oh, that was that. Oh, that was when Night of Champions when Ronnie beat him at Night of Champions prior to Olympia.
Yep. Levrone beat him in San Francisco the week before.
Right. Isn't that funny? Then he goes on to win the Olympia.
Look how thick Kevin is there, though, huh? Chest, shoulders, and
he was big. He was big at that Olympia. Yeah, the '98 Olympia. But he went and he went on and he won, like I said, a lot of those tours. But he just never put it together at the right time. And I think he didn't have the formula down. You know what I mean? I think he winged it a lot. Don't you think?
Maybe.
He had people helping him, but they were like advisors. He kind of did what he wanted.
Well,
Kevin did what he wanted.
He listened to his instincts, he said.
Yeah, which is sometimes not good.
Well, I said sometimes it's counterintuitive, I mean, it's hard to listen to your instincts.
Right. Once Kevin went on the tour, all the pressure was off, and he would start drinking, his alcoholic drinks and stuff like that, and he would just dry out. I think like so. Everyone else was turning into a water balloon. He was drying out from drinking alcohol every night. Oh boy. Well, you know what? We reminisced a little bit, and it was kind of cool today. There's not that much. There's nothing going on in the bodybuilding world, so Chris and I have to sit around like a bunch of old fogies and fantasize about all the old days and all the great shows that we've seen.
Yeah, we talked about relevancy. We talked about Kevin Levrone will always be relevant, and you know what? Those pictures of him will always be relevant because a lot of people in the Olympia lineup do not look like what we just looked at. That's for damn.
Yeah,
and that's no dig on who's in the Olympia lineup. He just looks stupendous in some of those pictures. And then we covered Wayne, right?
Yeah. And the Bob Grushkin tribute, which we really didn't talk that much about, but it was, if you guys haven't seen it, it's a two-parter. It's up on the RxMuscle YouTube channel and RxMuscle.com. You want to see, I couldn't get Jeff King to do an interview with me. He heard about the Bob, tribute, and he said he came on. He's like, I got to come on. And so I got him to come on. He was at work. He was at the hospital where he works at, and he's like, Jeff came on. And Matt, first of all, I got to just say, Matt Dufresne is like Guy Cisternino. They remind me of each other, like the intensity that they both had.
I used to train with Matt.
I know. He said he told the story about Chris doing 38 sets for biceps.
Dave, 9 o'clock, the workout would have to start at the exact.
Oh, he was a neurotic like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the meals were like perfect. He just, like Guy, he just willed himself
to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. You started off and you said this show, you said, I willed myself into the physique that I wanted at different stages of my life.
Uh-huh.
And without a doubt, Matt just willed his way. There was like no doubt in my mind when he made the announcement, I am going to be Mr. America. I'm going to be Mr. Universe. He could have put any title at the end of that. He could have picked the Olympia.
Really? Yeah.
Which is okay.
And he wasn't a big guy, right? He was like a lighter guy.
In real life, 205, but he's 5'6",
right.
Very impressive.
Was he a good training partner of yours?
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Yeah,
that was a funny story. He said when he first met you, I guess you must have been really, really young. And he's like, Chris wanted to do 38 sets for biceps. Yeah. I told him I'll do 8 of those sets with you, and then you can finish off yourself.
Yeah. What he failed to tell you is
right.
After the first 2 weeks, who would lead who?
Oh, really? You were pushing him? You were very. People don't realize you were very strong in the gym.
He was following me. He was following. He could never keep up on weights. Never.
Did you cut back your volume as you got older?
Well, I cut back the volume. I just got trapped into the volume thing because of Bob. I was up like,
oh, really?
I did a volume workout with Bob, and I'm like, oh, this must be the, okay.
Was that the Defendus workout that you got?
I don't even know, dude.
Remember Defendus said that he wrote a workout for Jeff King or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Then Jeff beat him.
Yeah.
Like 3 years later. Great stories. Check out that Bob Grushkin tribute on RxMuscle. I promise you will really truly enjoy it. I enjoyed it, so you won't want to miss that. All right, well, Chris, we're at the end of. We somehow did it. I don't know. We get through over an hour very easily without talking about anything of relevance, really. And yet, I think people enjoy these stories because a lot of people sit home, they're very depressed, Chris, and they hear these stories, and I get emails and texts from people telling me, you know what, I'm in such a good mood after listening to your show. I can't thank you guys enough. So, guys, good. We do this for you, and that's why we keep this stuff coming. And hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, the bodybuilding world will be reopened again because we need our bodybuilding. I'm starting to actually go in withdrawal. I want to start seeing some shows.
Yeah, me too.
But
so
all right, as we say every week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.